What if the monsters from bedtime stories actually walked among us? In the shadows, behind the legends, hiding in plain sight. Some of them might have been real. By the end of this video, you'll discover 7 mythical creatures whose stories are rooted in evidence from the real world. Surprisingly and sometimes terrifyingly real. We're about to unveil the chilling truths behind creatures considered pure myth. From icons of ancient Egypt to Japanese demons that are said to still walk among us. We begin with a creature so deadly it could kill with a single glance. The basilisk, often called the king of serpents. According to ancient legends from the Middle Ages, this strange creature was said to come from an egg laid by a rooster and hatched by a toad. Strange, right? Imagine a mix between a serpent and a rooster, with the terrifying ability to set things ablaze or cause death just by looking at them. Descriptions of the basilisk vary. In some stories, it resembled a massive snake, similar to a cobra. In others, it had legs or even wings, almost like a small dragon. But its most feared trait? Its gaze. A single look was enough to kill. But the creature had a weakness, actually 2. One was its own reflection. If by chance it saw itself in a mirror, that deadly gaze turned against it, causing it to die on the spot. The second was a rooster's crow. For unexplained reasons, that sound alone made the basilisk collapse and die instantly. The basilisk wasn't just part of scary bedtime stories, it became a powerful symbol. During the Middle Ages, it appeared on shields and family emblems, often used to represent danger, power, or an untouchable force. And today, the legend lives on. You'll find the basilisk in books, films, and video games, maintaining its role as one of the most legendary and feared creatures of myth. But not all monsters slither in shadows. Some sit in plain sight, stone-faced guardians hiding high on cathedrals, watching us from above. Have you ever looked up at an old cathedral and noticed those strange stone figures perched along the roofline? Those unsettling winged statues are called gargoyles, and their history is far more curious than most imagine. Gargoyles began appearing over 7 centuries ago in France. The earliest records date from the 13th century, when they were added to Gothic cathedrals like the famous Notre Dame of Paris. But the word gargoyle traces back to an even older tale, about a dragon called Gargui, who was said to be defeated by Saint Romanus. At first, gargoyles had a practical use. They served as rainspouts, directing rainwater away from building walls. But that raises the big question. Why were they carved to look so terrifying? In the Middle Ages, many believed these fearsome statues acted as guardians. People thought they could ward off evil spirits and protect churches and nearby towns. But the legends didn't stop there. Some stories claimed that gargoyles didn't stay still. They came alive when night fell. According to those tales, they wandered the streets during the night, chasing demons and watching over the city. When the sun rose, they returned to their stone form. So, could gargoyles be real? There's no evidence that statues turn into living beings. Still, the idea behind them isn't so far-fetched. In nature, many animals act as guardians of their space. Owls, hawks, and other predators defend their territory, much like the gargoyles of old stories. Even today in cities, statues of predators are placed on rooftops to ward off pests like pigeons, just as gargoyles did in the past. So, next time you pass by an old church or cathedral, take a moment to look up. You might feel like something's watching you. And now, let's look at one of the most baffling and feared creatures of recent folklore, the chupacabra. Its name means goat sucker, and it fits its unsettling reputation. It's known mainly for attacking farm animals, especially goats, and leaving them completely drained of blood. The first known sighting occurred in Puerto Rico in 1995. People started finding livestock with puncture marks on the neck. No blood, no signs of struggle. News spread quickly, and soon similar reports appeared in Mexico and throughout the United States. So, how does this creature actually look? Descriptions vary greatly. Some say it's no bigger than a medium-sized dog. Others insist it stands as tall as a human. Its skin is usually described as gray or covered in rough scales, with red eyes that glow and a row of sharp spines along its back. There are even accounts of it jumping like a kangaroo. Some people claim to have seen the chupacabra in person. In some cases, strange footprints have appeared, different from any known animal, in remote areas. Farmers have told of hearing chilling sounds at night, unlike anything they recognize. Blurry photos and shaky videos can be found online that people say show the creature, but it remains debated whether any of them are real. So, is the chupacabra just a legend? Many scientists think the explanation may be far more mundane. In most cases, they believe the animal behind the attacks could actually be a coyote suffering from a severe skin disease called mange. This condition causes hair loss, skin damage, and an overall appearance that could easily be mistaken for something more sinister. But even with that theory, people keep finding strange remains and unexplained marks. And that's enough to keep the mystery alive. But not every legend stalks the night. Some, like the next one, rise from fire and return stronger than before. Have you ever heard the story of a bird that never truly dies? Meet the phoenix, a legendary creature that doesn't face death in the usual way, but is reborn from its own ashes. The oldest references to this bird date back over 4,500 years, to ancient Egypt, where it was called Bennu. Over time, the phoenix came to represent eternity and the cycle of renewal. According to myth, once every 5 centuries, it builds a nest, sets itself ablaze, and from those ashes emerges a new phoenix, reborn and even more powerful. Its tears are said to heal any wound, and its feathers grant long life. Throughout history, there have been rare accounts of sightings that people claimed looked like a flaming bird. Some travelers spoke of a brilliant red creature with golden wings flying overhead. In 1862, a report in the United States described a fiery bird sighted over the Arizona desert at sunset. In 2013, a viral photo circulating online appeared to show a firebird gliding over the Brazilian jungle. It later turned out to be a trick of light, a visual illusion caused by the angle of the sun. Today, the phoenix appears everywhere, on shields, logos, and in countless forms of entertainment. You'll find it in movies like Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts, and in myths passed down through many cultures. But is the phoenix real? From a scientific standpoint, no. Still, as a symbol of rebirth and perseverance, it has endured in stories and imaginations for thousands of years. Though the phoenix never flew through the skies, its story continues to lift us up. But the next creature doesn't come to inspire. It exists to challenge us with its silence, its riddles, and stone. Let's move now to another legendary creature, the Sphinx. This figure isn't simply a stone statue from Egypt or a name from old stories. The Sphinx is a mythical beast with deep roots in ancient legends, known for its riddles, its silence, and the challenges it represents. In Egypt, the Sphinx was carved in stone, depicted as a lion with a human face. The most iconic is the Great Sphinx of Giza, built around 2,500 years before Christ. It was believed to guard the royal tombs, gazing across the sands throughout the centuries. But in ancient Greece, the image of the Sphinx changed. There it was imagined as a winged creature with the body of a lion or dog and the head of a woman. This version didn't just guard places, it tested those who crossed it, often with riddles that had life or death consequences. So, have there ever been actual encounters with a Sphinx? Naturally, the creature itself is a myth, but its image is everywhere. You can find sphinxes carved on bridges, at museum entrances, and on historic buildings. Online, you'll even come across photos or videos where people claim to have seen one move or breathe. But most are illusions, camera tricks, or simple desire to believe. Still, the idea of the Sphinx continues to hold power. It represents secrets, riddles, and the unknown. And if the Sphinx appeared in today's world, perhaps it wouldn't be guarding desert temples. Maybe it would perch atop a skyscraper in a bustling city, silently observing the chaos of everyday life below. And not far from the realm of riddles are far more fearsome creatures, beings born to punish, not to puzzle. The next creature we'll explore is the Oni, one of the most iconic demons from Japanese folklore. Known for their bright red or deep blue skin, their sharp horns, and their fierce expressions, Oni have long been symbols of fear, punishment, and mystery. But what exactly are they? References to Oni trace back to early Japanese records like the Nihon Shoki, written in 720, and the Kojiki from 712. In those early texts, Oni were described as spirits bound to the underworld, punishments for those who had done evil. Over time, their appearance changed. They became monsters of superhuman proportions with humanoid form, not unlike the ogres appearing in Western tales. Within Japanese Buddhist teachings, Oni were often presented as guardians of hell. Their job? Execute punishment upon those who had committed grave sins. Though Oni are mythological, stories of strange encounters have been passed down through generations. Some rural communities believed that Oni lived deep in the forests or high in the mountains, emerging after nightfall to frighten those who ventured too far from home. Today, traces of this belief still remain. During the Setsubun festival, people still throw roasted soybeans and shout "Oni wa soto," meaning out demons, to ward off harmful spirits. You can even find photos and stories online that claim to show Oni in modern settings, though most are imaginative works or playful jokes. Today, Oni appear everywhere in comics, movies, animated series, and video games. They've appeared in stories like Demon Slayer, Onimusha, Nioh, and in tattoo designs. Over the years, Oni have become more than villains. In some stories, they represent not just punishment, but also strength, justice, and protection. But what if a creature didn't come to harm you, but to protect you, even while you sleep? If you've ever felt that myths are more than fantasy, and that fear is more than fiction, consider sharing this with someone who still believes in monsters. Now let's move to a very different creature, the Baku, often called the Dream Eater of Japanese legend. Unlike most spirits or demons, the Baku isn't feared. It's welcomed. For centuries, people have believed it protects against nightmares, acting as a gentle guardian while we sleep. The earliest stories about the Baku trace back to 14th century Japan. Its appearance varied from tale to tale. In some versions, the Baku had the head of an elephant, the legs of a tiger, the body of a bear, and the tail of an ox. Other descriptions made it resemble more of a giant tapir, with bright yellow eyes and a presence that filled the room. Its size also changed with each telling, sometimes as small as a large dog, sometimes as huge as a shadow that could stretch across a person. It was said that if you spoke aloud before falling asleep, "Baku, eat my dream," the creature would come and devour your nightmare, sparing you a restless night. But there was also a warning. If the Baku remained hungry, it might take your peaceful dreams too, leaving you with nothing. Has anyone ever seen a Baku? Of course, there's no proof the creature exists in the physical world. Still, its presence is woven into Japanese culture. You'll find its image carved in wooden amulets, drawn on ancient scrolls, and placed in temples as a sign of spiritual comfort. In modern times, Baku continues appearing in animated series, children's books, and even in toys designed to protect children's dreams. Among all mythological creatures, Baku stands out. People don't fear it. They invoke it to find peace, and perhaps that's the real power of myth. Not that these creatures walk among us, but that something in us still believes they could. Mythical creatures have always held a place in human imagination. Some are terrifying, others awe-inspiring. But they all invite us to ask the same question: what if there's a grain of truth behind the legend? If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe. There are many more myths and mysteries to explore.